I would like to congratulate the City of Mexico for holding this event wherein you are going to discuss about the implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, especially in the light of the fact that you have included the UN Declaration in your new constitution. So I'd like to congratulate you for this event and to congratulate you again for the reform of the Constitution, which now acknowledges the existence and recognizes the rights of indigenous peoples contained in the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. As far as I know, this is the first effort that has happened in which a subnational local government entity has integrated the UN Declaration in its constitution. And therefore, you are setting a very good trend as far as the implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples is concerned. Of course, this effort that you have done is just a first step among many others which you need to do so that we will be able to see effective implementation of the declaration. I think one of the first steps that you need to do is to review existing laws, policies, and programs to see how these are consistent with the principles and articles of the UN Declaration. You have also to on the basis of this review, you have to see what are the things that need to be changed or reformed or amended in your laws, and what needs to be improved in the programs that you are going to undertake. If you are going to develop programs to operationalize the UN Declaration, this means that you have to set up a mechanism which will oversee the implementation of the UN Declaration. And there should be a very a vibrant interagency coordination among the different agencies of government so that you will be able to complement each other instead of contradicting each other in implementing the declaration. Secondly, I think there should be a clear budget allocation to ensure the implementation of the programs and policies that you have developed. In all these processes, it will be very important that indigenous leaders are involved to the fullest extent possible. The principle of the declaration is one of the key principles of the declarations is to ensure the effective participation of indigenous peoples. So I hope that in all the processes and the mechanisms that you are going to develop, you will ensure effective participation of indigenous peoples. There's also a need to have a monitoring process that it will be put in place for you to be able to assess what are the gains and achievements that you have in terms of effectively implementing the declaration, and to also identify what are the gaps and what steps need to be taken to address these gaps. I am sure these are matters that are already being discussed, or at least these are in the pipeline of matters that you need to discuss. And I wish you all the best in implementing the UN Declaration. I wish that in a few months' time or a year's time, we will see an example of how an urban center is able to implement the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I know that the federal government of Mexico is also undergoing a process of trying to develop law on consultation with indigenous peoples. So I hope the efforts that's being undertaken by the City of Mexico will be able to influence the efforts being undertaken at the federal level. I'll be undertaking a mission, an official country mission in Mexico in November of this year, and I will look forward to having a meeting with the officials of the city government and to also have a more in-depth discussion in terms of how the declaration is going to be implemented by you in the best ways possible. And this can be a good practice that can be cited as well in my report. Thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing the results of the convention. And I would like to sincerely apologize for not being able to make it to your historic event. But I would commit with you that when I do my official country visit, I will be able to have some hours of meeting with relevant government officials. And I wish you all the best in pursuing the implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, especially because this is the 10th year of the adoption of the Declaration. And starting this 10th year, I would love to see the City of Mexico doing its own contributions in further implementing the Declaration.